Today I am reviewing the Yonex Astrox Nextage Badminton Racket. I'm not going to go into all the detail of frame construction, etc, etc, etc that others may do. As you know by now, I'm more interested in how a racket plays, how it feels, who's it going to be for, and a little bit more direct in that respect. I don't need to go into all the minute detail. But let's just go through one or two bits and pieces for you anyway. So first of all, this has got a lovely matte black finish and green decals and looks absolutely superb. They've used the sort of clear grommets in the sort of throat positions here and the U grommets. Again, just a little finishing touch, looks really nice. This is a 4UG5, and as you would expect from the name of the racket, it's going to be head heavy. Falls under the Astrox range, which is always head heavy. It's all about power. But there's a nice sort of medium flex in there as well. There are quite a few things that are worth noting with this racket though, that are very sort of different. When stringing it, additional single pass grommets down here rather than the sort of doubles that we tend to see. Following on from the Astrox 88, the sort of wider pass grommets have been included again, which I think is good for stability. This has also got the sort of two loop stringing pattern, which is familiar on the Nano Flare 700 for instance. And you can see very quickly that there's a denser string bed here at the center, which is exactly what you want, and a little bit more space towards the outside of the frame, which is great for aerodynamic purposes and a great feel on the shuttle as well, because this is where your sweet spot's going to be. So from that perspective, all is really good. G5 grip, really happy with that, on the basis that there's a lot of players out there who need to build grips up, and it's always better to start small and be able to build from there, and especially because there's a lot of kids playing as well, and therefore that smaller grip will suit being in their hand as well, rather than the sort of larger grips. So I'm a massive fan of the fact that Yonex are bringing in the smaller grip sizes more often these days. Usually, as you probably know by now with Yonex, they have numbers with their rackets. So when they bring out a racket with just a name, then it's going to be slightly different, whether it'll be a special edition or this is going to be the next stage in the evolvement of the Yonex ranges. We'll have to wait and see. But this is not made in Japan. It is not a high-end racket in terms of the fact it's made in the factories in Japan. This is made in Taiwan, and it's a really good job. So don't let that put you off at all. This is a great feeling racket. Very much aimed at an intermediate to advanced player. Recommended tension, highest recommended tension is 28 pounds, which is exactly what I strung this at, with no problems whatsoever in terms of the stringing, and plays really nice. As you can imagine, you get the usual sort of great stiffness in the frame this way, which is a trademark of Yonex, that if you hit slightly off center, then it's not going to have too much of an impact on your shot. So always like that about Yonex, and the fact that they make such sturdy frames. But with this, it's also got that feeling of a little bit more hold. Vibration dampening is part of their selling point, and you know, usually I don't bother with any of the sort of gimmicky stuff, but I've been using this for quite some time now. I've hit a lot of shuttles with it, whether I'm feeding or warming up a player, and it's been a pleasure to play with. When I first played with it, I thought it was quite a stiff frame. Noticed the head heavy straight away, which is something that I like, but I thought it was a stiff flex, and I was quite surprised when I actually started to test it and found out that there's a lot more flex in this than I gave it credit for. So I got that one wrong initially, but hey, that's okay, I'm human. What is nice about this, there's a different sound that comes off this racket. When you hit the shots, power shots from the back, then there is a completely different sound to it, and sounds really good, feels really good, lovely feel on the string bed itself. So that was I wouldn't say a pleasant surprise. It's always good to have that, and when I'm usually using something like 100ZZ, then this is a great comparison for it. I would also say that it was quick. It was quick in terms of coming forward, hitting around the net. It was quick in defence, but obviously not going to be as fast as something like an Arc Saber 7 Pro, which is at even balance, super great racket, which I will talk about on another review. But for this, I really enjoyed the feel of it. As I said before, it kind of tips its head to the Lindan Force, and sort of also gives a nod to the Z Force 2. So any Z Force 2 users out there, you might actually quite enjoy this racket in terms of maybe not quite as much head weight, but it's certainly got that feel of it, and not quite as stiff. So it's a little bit more forgiving than the Z Force 2 ever was, and it might just suit you that little bit better. The fact that this is not a top-end Japanese-made racket as well means it's going to come into more of a budget, mid-budget range, and I think that's going to be superb value for money for most players. So if you're playing league badminton, or you're playing to a good standard, you're looking for and maybe a Nextage racket, something that's going to deliver good power, but you don't want to spend the top money on the sort of Astrox 88 Pro or the 100ZZ, something like that, then this is going to be absolutely spot on for you. The price is going to be, I would say, just over half the price of something like a ZZ. For me, in terms of great hitting, this racket delivered superbly well. Very, very pleased with it indeed. It's quick. There's got enough aerodynamics in here to make it quick, considering it's head heavy, and it's one that I'm going to keep in my bag for some time. I already have other players that have tested it, and one or two have already bought it off the tests I've done with them, which is fantastic. That's what it's all about when I do demo sessions. Get to play with a racket, feel it firsthand, and you know whether you're going to like it, and you're not wasting your money then, because you've already got that feel and understanding of the racket. So there we go. This is the Yonex Astrox Nextage. Been a pleasure to test with this, so thanks to Yonex for sending me this to demo it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you actually get to test this racket and find what I have, that it is brilliant racket and great value for money. And I'll see you on another video.